Welcome to Holding History, run by Apex Numismatics, where we look at history of the world through coins and other artifacts. Today we'll be looking at Swedish history, and more specifically at this very large and impressive silver medal of King Gustav III. When we think of European powers in the 1600s and 1700s, the countries England, France, and Portugal immediately come to mind. When we think of major European revolutions in the 1600s and 1700s, we think immediately of the French Revolution. Sweden isn't a country that is really thought of as a major European power, but in the 1700s, the country saw great influence and even a revolution of their own. All of this history is represented here by this massive silver coronation medal of King Gustav III of Sweden. Having been born into the royal family in 1746, he was well taught and well educated and really taught the ideals of European enlightenment as a child. He would come into power and rule Sweden after the death of King Charles XII in 1771. When he came into power, however, he would find Sweden parliamentary, also known as the Riksdag, bitterly divided between two parties, the Hats and the Caps. After trying unsuccessfully to resolve this conflict, Gustav would stage a coup in 1772, giving him sole control of the government. This would be a major theme in European politics in the 18th century as well, with many constitutional monarchs seeking to gain an absolute monarchy instead. After gaining power, Gustav III would pass many enlightened reforms in Sweden, such as abolishing torture, granting freedom of the press, promoting free trade, expanding the poor laws, and promoting religious freedom. Gustav was also a huge patron and supporter of the arts and sciences, establishing the Swedish Academy and the Royal Swedish Opera. In fact, the four medals you see on the screen here are actually medals commemorating the Swedish scientists minted over a century later by the very Swedish Academy that Gustav III eventually founded. Most of King Gustav's progressive policies, however, would prove unpopular with the Swedish nobility. In 1786, the Swedish parliamentary blocked most of his reforms in parliament, so King Gustav did what European monarchs had been doing for centuries, waging war to garner public support. Declaring war on Russia in 1788, he was able to leverage his hostilities into passing new constitutions granting himself even more rights and the rights of an absolute monarch. In 1790, he was able to end the Russo-Swedish War, concluding it with a peace treaty. However, he paid the price for his bitter struggle with the nobility. In 1792, he was shot while attending the Swedish Opera and died 2 weeks later. This medal that I now hold in my hand basically tells the story of King Gustav III. Minted in 1772 for his initial coronation after his coup against the Swedish parliament, the obverse features a very regal bust of King Gustav III, with Latin inscriptions depicting his power and status. On the reverse, we have a huge equestrian statue of the king, equally as awe-inspiring as the regal bust on the obverse. This really celebrates Gustav III in the way that he wanted to be seen by the public. In 1772, such a large silver medal would have been of huge value to the average Swedish citizen and really shows the king's power and prestige.